Hello, it is Shadow with the last expansion draft list for Kraken. So they put out their list for all the teams on Saturday. I've kind of looked over it, and I want to do one final mock draft before the actual draft happens tomorrow. So this is going to be a pretty quick run through. I'm going to be using the actual protected list, so I'm just going to like rip through all of these things. Just jump straight into drafting. So this is where it gets fun, because now I get to go through and choose what player do you think Seattle is going to take. Drum roll, please. I do believe that from the Anaheim Ducks, I'm going to pick Fleury. Mainly because Seattle's MO is to take on as little cap hit as possible. So I don't think they're going to go for Henrique, which still a very good player. But I don't think they're going to go for Getzlaf, because that cap hit plus the age just isn't wise in my opinion. Now from Arizona, I'm jumping between Labushkin or Fisher. Mainly because he's young, cheap, and he has a contract. Well, yeah. We'll go Fisher because there's a lot of very, 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 very good D out there that are going to get picked. So Labushkin probably won't get picked, but that's something we'll see when we get there. Okay, for Boston, I'm not picking Rask or Halak because ages. There's something that's drawing me toward Lazan, or however you pronounce his last name. It's very French, so I'm guessing that's what it is. Only because of age, price, contract. Personally, I would be thinking more along the lines of Riley. And if they want Taylor Hall, they can just wait a day and not wait a day. If they want Taylor Hall, they can just go and sign him on the 28th when free agency starts. So picking UFAs that end this year isn't the smartest idea. So we'll go with this. Okay, Buffalo. I'm a big fan of Jake McCabe. I always have been. I like the rough and tumble guys. But Jeff Skinner, yes, he waived his no move clause, but with that cap hit is disgusting, and he has 4 more years. Sorry, 6 more years of this. There's no way he will get bought out eventually, but the buyout for a 6-year contract would be $4.5 million for 12 years. Half a cap hit, double the years. So there's no reason why any team should buy out Jeff Skinner. You can try and whatever, send him to the minors, but like that's gonna help. So this is where I'm bouncing around between Miller, McCabe. Yeah, Miller, McCabe. Because, like, a lot of these guys don't really excite me. And they're not going to want a lot of 28, 29-year-olds who are making league minimum. They can just go pick the ones they actually want. So, I'm going to say McCabe. Miller is good. This is one I'll look at and see if there's more lefty than righty. I'll take Miller. Okay, Calgary Flames. This is where it's gonna get kind of spicy. Because there's no point in signing Ryan, Levo. These guys can't actually get picked because they don't. Oh, they don't. They're not required to meet. They can't be exposed. Okay, but you know what? The one you you want Godin, go for it. Like none of these guys interest you, except for Phillips. We know it's gonna be Giordano, and then they're gonna try. And if they're not good next year, which it's going to be hard to think that they're not going to be good based on the team they can pick. But next year, if they aren't good, they'll trade Gio at the trade deadline to a contender and get like at least 2 seconds. Also, Calgary better not do some stupid trade to make sure that they save. Yes, he's a captain, but he's 37, and that cap hit will help sign Kachuk and any other improvement that Calgary desperately needs. Okay, Carolina. Now, this is going to be interesting. Look at these goalies. 23-year-old who's just league minimum, can be their top pair. Honestly, it depends. If I don't have enough forwards, I'll come back for Niederreiter because very good player, top 6, 100%. But it all depends on who else they can grab. Chicago, who even are these? They have like no one. That's hilarious. Shows how young they are. So, I'm just gonna go straight out of left field and say they take Dickinson. Mainly because... Or Subban. Like, it honestly depends. I'm gonna pick Subban, mainly because contract and I haven't picked a goalie yet. But we will 100% see. Okay, this is scary. Ooh, 3 good goalies, 2 young ones. I mean, Nemeth is good, but you can just sign him out of UFA this year. Not a big deal. Johnson's important, but not for that cap hit. That 6 mil hurts. I'm going to say Donskoy because they're going to have to talk to Landeskog. And I don't think Seattle will pay what Landeskog wants because guess what? Colorado doesn't even want to pay what Landeskog wants. So it's looking like he's going to hit free agency and go somewhere with a lot of money. I'm thinking like maybe Detroit because of the money, but I don't think they would want to go to Detroit. It's going to be crazy. That's all I can say. I don't know where he will go, but I don't think it's going to be Colorado. Columbus, like the only one that kind of intrigues me is this D, but also not really at all. I'm looking at Grigorenko or Domi. Yes, it's a big cap hit. Yes, he had a bad year last year, but he was better earlier. So, will they take a chance on him? I mean, you could. It's only a year of him, and you could try trading him at the deadline if it's not working out. Okay, Dallas. Looking at this, there's not a lot that I would be enthralled with picking from. I'm caught between either picking Honka or Alexiak. Honka's young. Obviously, he didn't play any games this season. Or there wasn't a lot of last season either. And he's an RFA, so you have complete control. I'm going to go him because he has a high ceiling. I thought he would be in there, but they have so many good older D that he just doesn't have a space. Kind of like being from Carolina. So yeah, we'll go with that. We're already at 6 defense, and I'm sure there's going to be more coming up. Okay, let's see. Detroit. I would find it hard not to pick Sveshnikov only because of how good his brother is. He's obviously on a bad team in Detroit, and he's coming up. He's a little bit older than the one in Carolina, but he still has the same kind of skill, not as high ceiling, but he still has like the capability to get to a decently high ceiling. I would I would for sure take it on Detroit. And so like, are you going to take a 20-year-old goalie? Um, I mean, you could take some Stetcher, but there's a ton of defense. You need some forwards. He's young. I think it'd be good even if he's fourth line or in the minors for a bit. I think he's an overall solid pick. And now the spoiler Oiler foiler Boilers. As you can tell, I'm not an Oilers fan. So I'm looking at this guy. He's pretty good. He's from Edmonton, so they probably don't want him gone. Honestly, I'm thinking. I don't. I mean, yes, you could take Clefbaum, but Clefbaum's injured, so why would you put that huge cap hit right onto LTIR? I'm bouncing between Benson and Kara, mainly because I would like Kara if he's anywhere but the Oilers. I'll say Benson. See, they don't even have the Dreegers here. But he's already signed a deal with... Well, not already signed. He's down to sign a deal with them. So, there's really no point in him being taken from Florida. So, I think they're going to go somewhere else. They don't have a ton of, interesting pieces up front. Walmart is kind of alright, but I'm looking more at Montour. He went from Buffalo to Florida, so he's probably happy, but now, I mean, he has a decent high cap hit. It's going to be depends if they know they can sign him, but also who else are you going to take? Are you going to go for Juleson? Or are you going to Bashkov? Like, they have some younger guys that you could swipe from, but I don't know. It's good to have a decent top four. If it does come down to where it's like, I have 13 defensemen, I will come in and take one of the forwards. Okay. LA Kings. No one's going to take quick. I'm sure they put him up here, but they're going to have some trade deal. I'm looking at, I want either Mata or Clegg, because Seattle is going to be built like Carolina, where they have a very good, dependable, aggressive defense core. Because the GM of Seattle was the GM of the Hurricanes. So, I can see them for sure getting 9 defensemen and trading 3 of them, flipping them for picks. I'm going to say Mata because I need contracts, but I personally would take Clegg. So if I'm like 25, I'll come back, and if I'm not nowhere near the cap hit or the minimum cap hit, I'll drop down. Okay, Minnesota. This is where I find it hard to decide. Because you could go and take Victor Rask, who's a very good player, kind of underrated in my opinion. Very good at faceoffs. I like him better than Bonino, Johansson, and Bugstad. But it's got to be Kakkonen. He's young. He's ready to be a starter, and that's the only real interesting goalie that you can, pick other than Carey Price. But I think this is absolutely no way they're getting picked. They're not going to pick Price. They're not going to pick Weber. They saw what Deneau did in the playoffs. That they can just go and sign him if they want. Oh, man. I'm thinking Gustafson or I'm going to go off the board and say they're going to take Fleury so they can have both Fleuries because, comedy. Absolute comedy. Rene retired, so that's alright. Nashville, or aka Smashville. Okay, who do they take? I don't think they're going to take either of these, but it's definitely like, hey, we have too many good defense. Come take a forward. Yeah, I'm going to have to take John Croak. Mainly because I like what he can do. He's a little bit bigger. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2". But he can also, he's a good setup guy. I think that's going to be something that they absolutely need. Okay. The New Jersey Devils. Don't know why I said it with an accent, but we're going to roll with it. I don't even know if that was an accent, but whatever. I mean, I'm trying not to only pick defensemen because I already have 9. But, you have Butcher, Murray, and Subban, who, I mean, he's 32 and been doing terrible. But also, dude, take Subban, use him like Geo, and trade him halfway through the year? No, you don't. You go for Merkley. I think as much as this is a very cheap price, he's been doing alright. He was doing good in San Jose before he got traded. Okay, Islanders. As I see Eberle up here, I absolutely instantly take him. I would rather have Eberle over Bailey, even though they're almost the same player, but just on creativity alone, you go Eberle. Paul Mary's more rough and tumble, and you can also just, sign him on the 8th if you want him that badly. But it's they're not going to go for Hosang. They're not going to go for Dow Cole. Or Timashov. That's all, yes, they're young, but they also want to be able to, be able to compete in a very bad division, to be honest. They're going in with Anaheim, LA, San Jose. This is Seattle, by the way. Vegas is the dominant. Then there's Edmonton, who's fought in second. Vancouver and Calgary. Seattle. So they're going to be pretty much vying for 3rd, 4th, 5th. It's going to be interesting to see what they do and how well they do it. So this is where it gets interesting. Goudreau's going to get signed, most likely. They have one kind of planned. But do they try and take on D'Angelo as kind of like a remediation of his rep? I find it hard to believe that they would, but also it might work. But I think we're going to just go young, go with Gauthier, and, just getting in those contracts, So looking at this, look at all these forwards and the worst goalie contract in the last year. So I will not touch that I shouldn't have even touched it with my cursor. It's so bad. I'm thinking Turney. I do like him as a player. I was sad when he got traded to Ottawa from San Jose, but also it makes sense. One of the better players. Good with all these younger guys, but that will be a very good player for Seattle. Oh boy. Philadelphia. What are you doing? They have Galtisbear and Hag, both very good. He's been wildly inconsistent. Voracek wants out pretty much. You know, trade piece. But how? If you're not taking Landeskog, you gotta take Voracek. Both of these are two guys that I would want on my team on the first two lines, 100%. It's going hardcore against the I don't want to sign big contracts, but he is worth that 8.2. Okay, Pittsburgh. It's not a lot here. I'm gonna. No, I don't want to go to Smith. Don't want to go Jones either. I have the perfect third goalie choice. It's gonna blow Vancouver's mind. Oh, that was just a huge giveaway. I mean, they kind of like Lafferty this season, so we'll go with him for contracts. I'm gonna say Donato because he's high up there and they saved other people. I mean, you could also take Nieto, but that contract, I'm bouncing between Gambrel and Donato. But Donato's a little bit more battle tested. So I think he's more ready than Gambrel is. But Gambrel will be ready next year kind of thing. This blows my mind. You have Schwartz, Tarasenko, Scandella, and Dunn. You have to be making some kind of off-the-kilter trade to Seattle. Be like, we will trade you Dunn and a second, and let's go De La Rose for you not to take Schwartz and Tarasenko. And then you just take Scandella. Or like one of the three. Because they're both very good players. Yes, Tarasenko's injured. Doesn't like how St. Louis goes. I think if they did take Tarasenko, they would be doing St. Louis huge. So maybe they take Schwartz. Or maybe they take Hoffman. But like they have enough D, you know, it's all good. Now, this is where it gets kind of nutty. Who do they take from Tampa? Do they go young? Or do they go with someone from their area? I can see them going young and then making a trade to Tampa for Johnson, being like, hey, if you don't want us to take Gord, give us Johnson and who's a young dude? Colton or Radish, a younger guy, or a third or a second pick. So like, you don't want us to take Yanni Gord? Okay, give us Johnson and a third, and then they take Calfoot, who they probably want the whole time. I can see that happening extremely easily. So there was some unbelievable thing going around about Alex Kerfoot. I think he's overrated. He was overrated in Colorado. So I'm going to say they're going to take McCann, who they just traded for, which, you know what, is dumb. But you had to do what you had to do. You gave up people. I don't understand why you traded for him. Boom, Holtby. So this is going to seem weird. Why not take... Oh, because all of these players are garbage. Okay, maybe not garbage. They're just not worth picking when you can have a 31-year-old Holtby who had a decent cap hit, will be a great... I wouldn't even say number 2. I would say 1C for, you know, 2 of the other 3 goalies you're picking. Subban, I probably will change him because I don't think I have to pick Subban. That's why. I mean, Edler is going to hit free agency. Hamonic wants somewhere in Canada, Western States. So Seattle, but why would you use your pick when you could get someone with such a good veteran presence 4-year goalies that are going to be young. Like, it's going off of what I've looked at so far, they're going to be young. They will absolutely not be taking Ovechkin. Nah, don't even. No, that literally they just are waiting for this to go down so they can have some cap space to sign him. Hathaway's injured too much. Oh wait, no, sorry, wrong dude. I can see them taking Hathaway, but also he is getting older. You know, let's go off the bar and say they're gonna take Vanacek. Or no, let's go Foucault because he's definitely a minor league goalie starter. That's good. Winnipeg. Depending on no, I'm gonna take Appleton. I mean, I want to take DeMello, but also look at this cap hit. That is scary close for them. I'm gonna go through and probably change a few, but I just don't see them wanting to spend that much. They're going to be closer to 60 probably. Subban is definitely not going to be who they take. So I'm going to actually throw it over and say that they're going to take Gaudette. Mainly for the fact that, or sorry, at Dickinson. I said why before. Dickinson, I can see them going for someone younger. They can sit in the minors for a bit or being a trade piece. I was going to take Donskoy, but I think Comfort at a little bit cheaper, 3 years younger, is probably better. They're not going to go way younger unless they want to drop this a little bit more. Montour's cheap, but I need one more contract. So I think they might pull, let's go to Navarra. That drops the cap by almost $1 million. And that gives me the correct amount of contracts. Olimata, yeah, I can still see that. It's a very decent. You know, do they go Wagner? That opens up some good cap space. He's from Calgary, so maybe coming a little bit closer north would be happy for him. Now, do we go swap over Ghost Despair or Hag? You know, I can see them going for Hag to give them a little bit more cap space to play around, and then they might try something else. They could go for Morin as well. I think that cap space is going to be absolutely their best friend. Perfect. Okay, let's draft this team then. View team. Goalies would be Kakkonen, Foucault in the minors. We already know that they're going to be signing Dreger, so they won't be picking him. And Holtby as like a 1C. I really like that lineup. It does excite me. I'm looking forward to Seattle coming in here. Look at that, $27 million in cap space. Absolutely go. They got 7 RFAs, 3 with Arbrights, and then 1 UFA. A very interesting team dynamic, in my opinion. But that is all. I've gone through the teams, picked it. Let's see how many of these players are picked by Seattle tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. And sub if you want to see more content. Don't really do a ton of hockey stuff. But hockey is my favorite sport. And it's super prevalent right now with this entry draft and free agency coming. There'll be stuff going all around. Thank you very much for watching. And I hope you have a good day.